Hello, Ytpc. Ethan, Parsimonious Piper here. And today I have got Nick, Shallow Pockets, and we're going to have our weekly chat here. Nick, howdy. Tell us what you're smoking there.
How you doing, Ethan? I'm doing good. I've got a little Radici little pot shape that I picked up off of eBay. It was a brand new pipe, but it was an eBay find. And this is I did a video on Stanwell's recently, and I mentioned the $100 Radici found on eBay, and that's it right there. And it's one of my favorite little pipes. So I consider it a parsimonious Radici, even though Radici generally isn't parsimonious.
No, that is a good find.
And I'm smoking a little McBaron Norwood in it, which is a Virginia Burley, which I'm not super partial to Virginia Burleys, but every once in a while I like them. So,
all right. Well, in a 1950s era BBB billiard, I've got some of that Savinelli Doblon d'Oro.
Oh, I never had that. Never tried that.
And that's Virginia and Kentucky.
Okay.
I taste mostly the Kentucky, and I like that. That's good for me.
It seems like blends with Kentucky, you get a lot of Kentucky, even if it's not a lot in there.
Yeah, and I like that. I can taste it.
Yesterday I was smoking some of the Smoking Pipes 20th anniversary dark. That was, I think it was either this year or last year it came out. And there's a little bit of Kentucky in it, but to me it's like I was trying to convince myself that they put cigar leaf in it. It tasted so much like a cigar. Just that Kentucky really came through like a cigar. But
all right, well, after you get that lit, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you live, what you do.
I live on the Central Coast of California, specifically San Luis Obispo County, and I work in public service here in the state. I was born and raised in the town that I currently live in. My grandparents live about 400 yards away. If there was a couple trees that weren't in my backyard, I could actually see the roof of their house.
Wow. That's cool.
After high school, I went down to LA for a while for college. The day after I graduated college, I got out of LA. I couldn't stand it down there. Came back home for a little bit. Then I got a job up north for like 5-6 years. And then about 4 years ago, 5 years, well, no, more like 5 years ago now, my wife and I moved back to my hometown. And the house that we bought is actually about a half a mile from the house I grew up in. So it's like go around California just to end right back up in almost the exact same spot.
That is something I can't even relate to, being a military brat.
Oh, yeah, I'd imagine, right? Everything's a hometown for you, I guess.
Yeah, everywhere I've lived, when I say I grew up here, I grew up there, well, it's all true.
Yeah,
I did a little bit of growing up here and a little bit there, and
yeah.
So let's dive into pipe stuff. So how long have you been smoking a pipe?
I've been smoking a pipe since I was 18, about a month or two after my 18th birthday. Hey,
that doesn't tell us how long.
Right. So I was thinking I had to buy myself time to think, am I 34 or 30? I'm 34, I'll be 35 in April.
Okay.
And I walked into luckily here in San Luis Obispo, there's a pretty good brick and mortar store. I did that little Stanwell video, and that kind of funky Stanwell shape was actually at that brick and mortar store in San Luis. Just happened to walk in and pick it up, and it's the more research I did on it, the more I found out how lucky I was on that. It's just not a findable shape. There's only like maybe a half a dozen photos of them online. There's just not a lot out there.
Okay, so what made you want to smoke a pipe?
I think it was like February of 2005. which would have been a couple months before my 18th birthday. It was rainy and cold, and I was walking through a parking lot, and this guy, he's sitting in his like old beat up Toyota 2-wheel drive pickup, like from the 80s. And
Oh
he
yeah, they're
had
cool. That
like a early 80s, like an 80, 81, something like that. Just a blue, beat up, dented, rusted. I mean, I can still remember, but probably had, 500,000 miles on it, still ran like a top. So I'm walking through, and he has the windows halfway down on each side. And I'm 20 feet from his truck. And I've noticed the truck, but I'm 20 feet from the truck, and I can smell some sort of smoke that it's like, holy cow, what is that? Where's that coming from? And I'm getting closer and closer, getting stronger. And I realize it's the guy sitting in the truck. So as I walk by, I kind of look in, and he's an older gentleman, got a scraggly white beard, this denim jacket on that's, looked like he's been wearing it for 40 years every single day, and it was super weird because no matter, it didn't matter to him what he was driving, what he was wearing, what he was, anything like that. It was like he was happy and content as long as he had his pipe. And the smell of that pipe smoke, like immediately I was like, I want that, right? I want to do that. And so it was just a lucky turn of events. It was cold and rainy, so just everything blended together. And so about a month after I turned 18, I went down and bought my first pipe from Doug, not the Sanctuary. He's kind of gave me a rough little, deal on how to pack a pipe, light it, how this and that. And he's been a lifelong pipe smoker. And that's basically how it started.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So you've been doing this a while. Have you developed a particular leaning for one pipe maker or brand or shape over others?
Well, obviously I like Stanwell's.
Mm-hmm.
I like Radici a lot. This is a Radici. I've got like 4 or 5 Radicis. I've probably got somewhere in the neighborhood of like 30 to 30 pipes, maybe. I don't exactly know. I don't really sit around and count them too much. But I like Radici. I like Stanwell. I like the Sarah Eltang line. And I have a couple basket pipes that are like some of my best smokers. So it's kind of like I'm all over the spectrum. When I was, a little younger, I'd say like between 18 and 25, I was like buying as many pipes as I could get my hands on. I'd save up $60 and buy this, and save up and, buy that, buy a couple basket pipes. And then I got to the point where I was like, I didn't like them, right? I was buying them because I had the money and I wanted, and I wanted to buy something, but I didn't like them. So then when I realized, I really like Stanwell's, I really like Radici's, I'm going to save some money, maybe not buy the first whatever that comes along, but I'm going to save a little money, and I'm going to, I'll spend a couple $100 on a Radici or something like that, rather than, and I'll buy a couple, 2, 3, 4 pipes a year, rather than, a pipe of every month or something, right, that I just didn't really like. Just wait for something I really liked.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. From the video you posted the other day, you definitely have an affinity for the Stanwells.
Yeah, and I didn't actually realize it until I just started looking. I started looking more at my collection stuff, and I started like going through my Stanwells, and I'm like, oh, I have purchased a couple of like those Sixton Everson Stanwells, or one of my Yes Carnwish Stanwells I did purchase on purpose. But 6 out of the 7 pipes, like 4 of those I purchased that were, designed by some Danish pipe carver. I didn't even realize it until I started, looking at them more. So I guess you could say I have a little bit of an affinity for the Danish school of pipe making, which is maybe why I like Ytpc, because they're not like they have a lot of like not classically Italian shapes, they're more smaller, a little bit more
Gotcha.
petite.
Okay. Next obvious question. What did you smoke when you first started out, and what do you like now?
Well, I got lucky. Doug, he set me up with like a very a very aromatic, dug down the sanctuary, very aromatic, and then something more like in the middle, like I want to say it was like a luxury navy flake or something like a Virginia flake, but it was a shag, like a loose cut, and then something on the English side. And like everybody else, my first bowl was the aromatic, and I just didn't really like it. Didn't really agree with me, this and that. So I actually went to the other end of the spectrum, started smoking the English, because of the aromatic, I didn't get the flavors that I thought that I was going to get. Part of that was probably the inexperience, but so then I went to the English side, and I was like, oh, I can actually like taste this. I can actually, I can see what's going on there.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't really give the aromatics a whole lot of extra thought at that point. I was smoking more like the English stuff, like the Squadron started, smoking Squadron Leader, even Skiff Mixture, things like that. GLP's Piccadilly is one of my favorites still. It was one that I found early on. And now I smoke a lot more vapors. The Escudos, the long golden flakes, if I can find it. Pretty much any of those vapors is what I prefer. But then as soon as the weather starts to get cold, I reach back for the Piccadilly, something with a little Latakia, something with a little, little Oriental, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then occasional Virginia Burley. So I'm kind of all over the map.
Very, very interesting. So how did you find the Ytpc? What got you into it to begin with, and what then got you in front of the camera?
Well, back in 2005, I was trying to think. The first couple of years I smoked a pipe, there was like the Ytpc as it is today wasn't a thing. There was no Ytpc. There may have been a few videos, like random one-offs or a couple things. I learned how to pack my pipe how I currently pack it off of YouTube. There's an old video, they're still up. There's an old video, there's a 3-part video called the Frank Method number 1, Frank Method number 2, Frank number 3, something like that. And it's a German guy or some guy with an accent. Found that guy's video like maybe a couple months after it was posted. I think it's been on YouTube for like, I don't know, 13, 14 years or something.
I know the one you're talking about. Yeah.
I believe that those were the first videos I ever actually watched of pipe smoking on YouTube. And that guy, whoever he is, I have no idea. He taught me how to pack my pipe, and I still generally use his method today. The only thing is I don't get quite as fussy about not putting my fingers like in the bowl. After years and years and years of practice, I just kind of figured out where, what works for me.
Sure.
But I say I follow his 90%. And then the other guy is Dubbing the Dam. I think his first video was like something like 12, 13 years ago as well. And I was watching all of his videos, and then there just wasn't a whole lot that I knew of other than, that Frank Method one, and then what Dubbing the Dam. Like I said, there may be a few one-offs here and there, but there just wasn't a whole lot. And then it just sort of exploded, just like all kinds of stuff. There was another guy his name was Pipe Friend. I want to say it was like Pipe Friend CHS or something like that, or HCS. It's Pipe Friend something or other. You could probably still find his video. I don't think he makes videos anymore. And he was kind of a goofy guy, but a kid, he'd have some decent videos about pipes or tobacco or this or that. And then after that, it's hard to keep up because it just, like I said, the YouTube pipe community deal just exploded, and then I basically just went to watch a Northwest Pipe Smoker.
Hmm.
Watched a lot of Tom's videos. It was good. It was good. Sit down, smoke a pipe, watch Tom talk about just whatever Tom wanted to talk
Yeah,
about.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he could talk about scraping bubble gum off your shoes and you'd probably watch it. I mean,
Yeah, I'd sit there and watch. It's just, his voice, the cadence at which he talks, just
hmm
he's, you can tell everything's very genuine. He's just easy to watch. It's good pipe smoking content.
hmm So what flipped you to from a watcher uh, to a presenter?
Well, I've been a consumer of YouTube, right, with pipes, with hand loading, with firearms, with things like that for a really long time, and I just felt like maybe I ought to give back a little bit, right? Put a little bit of other information out there. There's some topics, there's some things that people maybe haven't that haven't been discussed as much on YouTube or whatever. And it's always good to have extra like tobacco reviews. I think if I'm interested in a certain tobacco, I'll watch 3 or 4 different videos. I don't just watch one and then go out and buy it. I want
Right.
to see what multiple people. So I think there's value to that. And it's easy to do. I do everything on my phone. I didn't buy a camera. The only thing I bought was a little $20 stand off
hmm
of it. And it's just, if I can provide like a little bit of guidance to people that are new, or even people that are experienced. I've been smoking a pipe for 15 years or something, and it's like I still learn a lot on YouTube. So I just felt like I needed to give back a little bit, not be so selfish and just watch and watch and watch and never actually contribute anything, I guess.
All right. Shallow Pockets. How'd you pick your channel name?
I just It just sort of came to me. I think I was reading an article or something like that, and someone was like, "Oh, something in there says I have shallow pockets" or something like that. I'm like, "Oh, that might be kind of a interesting handle." And I wanted to, since I do eventually want to do other content. I've done one little video about like about a chronograph and things like that, and how
Right.
important it
Timing.
is to speed test. Yeah.
hmm
So I'd like to do more of that kind of stuff. So I didn't want to just be like, Cali pipe smoker or something like that. I wanted something that could, maybe cross over lines. I know the YouTube algorithm, whatever, it doesn't like that. It likes, likes you to stay in one lane, but that's not what I'm interested in. So,
Yeah. Well, good. Well, so what other things are you interested in? What are your other hobbies?
well, I like firearms, obviously.
I
I
I,
do a lot of hunting and fishing.
I see some antlers poking
Yeah.
up behind you.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, so I do some hunting and fishing. I like to just shoot. I like to shoot guns. Right now it's waterfowl season, so I actually have like my waders and all my waterfowl gear like sitting right next to me, because once waterfowl season comes, I don't pack it back away because I'm taking it out every week, a couple times a week. So um
You got a good dog?
yeah, I do have a good dog. Yeah, his name is Chris. He's my buddy. We bird dog for each other. So but no, we don't use a dog. We go traipsing off through the marsh chasing ducks, and it's a good time. It's fun. It gets your exercise in for sure. But we have been talking about we kind of made a deal. Was I've got 2 dogs currently, and he has 2 dogs currently. So when one of my dogs kicks the bucket, I might think about getting like an upland dog, either
Mm.
like a wire hair pointing Griffon or Brittany or something like that. And then when one of his dogs kicks the bucket, he wants to get a lab. So we'll be covered on both
Yep.
sides.
Yeah.
So
So hunting, fishing, firearms.
yeah, hiking, camping. We just went up to Big Sur. There's a campground up there called Pfeiffer. It's called Pfeiffer Big Sur. It's right on the coast. So from where I'm at, I'd hit Highway 1 along the coast, and you just drive along the coast for like 2 hours until you get up there, and it's just redwoods and sequoias and big trees and river. And so we went up there for a couple of days, went camping.
Rode my motorcycle right by there about 20 years ago.
Did you really?
Yeah, my wife and I did we did all of Highway 1 from San Juan Capistrano all the way up to Leggett.
Oh, okay.
And took a couple of weeks to do that, 50 miles a day. It was absolutely gorgeous. Loved it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good time of year. It rained on us on the last night. I actually towed my dad's fifth wheel. We used to only tent camp, and we got a baby now. We got a kid. She's 2.5. When she came along, we kind of decided, well, Dad's got the fifth wheel. I've got a Duramax with a hitch in it. And we'll just, make it easier on everybody and tow the fifth wheel, even though we'd rather be in a tent. But it rained on us on Monday night, and we were leaving Tuesday. So luckily, it's nice, right? You can sit inside, you cook your eggs, you cook your sausage. It's rainy, drink your coffee. It was actually pretty nice versus in a tent. You're out there in the mud trying to cook stuff and or do whatever you're doing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to ask you 2 last questions. The first is, now that you are in the Ytpc as a presenter and you've obviously been watching for years, what keeps you here? What's your favorite aspects of the Ytpc?
Well, now I think it's the variability, or just the amount of content, right? For instance, if I didn't like Dubbing the Dam, and he doesn't make videos anymore or whatever, if I didn't like him, it wasn't like I could just go on to the next guy. There wasn't really a next guy. There was maybe a couple other guys, versus now, if someone has content that I don't relate to, or that I'm not that interested in, it's okay. I can move on to the next guy. And it's the same thing for everyone else out there. If I'm talking about stuff that you don't like, or you just don't like the way I look, whatever, you can go on to the next guy, and nobody's going to get the feelings hurt. And so I think that's what I like the most about it is no matter who you are, you're going to find someone that you relate to. You're going to find someone that makes content that you like. You're going to find someone that has information that you like. And so I think that for me is one of the most important things about the YouTube pipe community, right? Mm-hmm. That variability. I like that.
I like that too. There are loads and loads of guys out there that they just put such different content out. Even, talking about reviews, there are so many different review styles, and level of depth in terms of reviews, that kind of thing. So yeah, variety is fantastic.
Yeah, and stemming off of that, right? Like when I decided I was going to start doing, I was going to do some tobacco reviews, I decided I don't want to have, a big list of all these things I got to talk about and this and that. If you're someone that likes something like that, maybe, Stuff and Things is a better channel for you, because he's going to tell you, like for me, like I said it before, I don't like to talk about moisture content. I particularly don't think it's that important, because it's so highly variable and you can change it as the pipe smoker. So right. I don't feel like it's really that important. But if you do, then Stuff and Things, right? He's going to tell you about what that tobacco or that moisture content's like. He's going to tell you a lot of other things. I'm just going to sit down, smoke it, and tell you what I think about smoking. What I think it feels like, what I think it smells like, what I think it tastes like. I want to have a conversation. I don't want to teach you. Well, I mean, that came out wrong. I don't want to instruct, right? You get what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. I do. Absolutely do. Okay. We're down to the very last one. Do you have any parting thoughts, words for the YTPC.
Um, I say it in a lot of my videos, and I'll say it, I'll say it again. Smoke what you like. Don't smoke what you don't like. Don't force yourself to smoke a blend that you hate because you feel bad about not smoking that blend or whatever. If you want to try to find someone to give it away to, give it away. If you want to just throw it away, it's okay. You can throw it away. They'll make more. People will be able to buy it. It's okay. You don't have to. I there's it just seems like it's a problem, and I don't know if it is a problem or not, but for me, if there's one guy out there that's just forcing himself to smoke a blend he doesn't like, it's too many guys. Life is too short to smoke something you don't like.
Well, folks, with those great words of wisdom, I'm going to let you guys go. Like I tell you all the time, light something you like. Enjoy your afternoon.